we're in discussion with that. I think that would be a little anyway.
This is my video update on this Thursday afternoon, October the 3rd, coming to you from Nicosia, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with an interview on CNN from Christoforou, a very sophisticated journalist and international correspondent. She was interviewing the Lebanese foreign minister, and the Lebanese foreign minister made a very interesting statement, a very interesting revelation, if you believe what the Lebanese foreign minister is saying. He said that Nasrallah had agreed to a ceasefire. Hezbollah and Nasrallah, they had agreed to a ceasefire, and they had notified the United States on their agreement to a ceasefire with Israel, and therefore he felt safe in southern Lebanon, but he was still targeted and killed by the Israeli military. That is what the foreign minister of Lebanon told Christoforou on CNN. Do you guys believe this statement from the Lebanese foreign minister? If it is true, then it is an incredible revelation from the Lebanese foreign minister, if it is true. If it's true, then it means that Nasrallah was tricked. I guess that's what it means. Anyway, that is what he said. Let's now move on to a Politico article talking about the escalation in the Middle East. And Politico, in this article, they claim that Professor Biden, he is getting very frustrated with Netanyahu, and he simply cannot control Netanyahu and cannot control Netanyahu's escalation, Netanyahu's actions. That is what Politico is reporting in this article, citing all kinds of anonymous and unnamed sources. The title of this article is "Biden Confronts the Limits of His Influence Over Israel." After a year of effort, the U.S. may be unable to stop full-scale regional war. So Biden's trying, according to Politico, he is trying to prevent a big regional war. He's trying to rein in Netanyahu and to stop Netanyahu from escalating, but he just can't do it. Biden is just unable to control Netanyahu, and this is very frustrating for Professor Biden. So Politico, in this article, they actually call Biden a lame duck. They say he is a lame duck president, especially when it comes to the conflict in the Middle East. They say that as Biden's influence over Netanyahu shrunk, the president grew angry with Netanyahu and Israel. They claim that when Biden would talk to Netanyahu, it was a shouting match, increasingly turned into shouting matches. That is what Politico is saying. Every time they talked, it turned into a shouting match. They also claim that Biden will be unable to prevent a regional war. and that Biden is going to have to settle for limiting Israel's response rather than discourage it entirely. Politico also claims that Biden is trying to convince Israel, to persuade Israel to not target Iran's nuclear facilities and to instead go after Iranian proxies in the retaliation, to hit at Iranian proxies, militias in Syria and in Yemen, as well as place more sanctions on Iran. That is the retaliation that, according to Politico, Biden is trying to get Netanyahu to buy into. Biden also, in this article, they claim that Biden also is under the belief that Netanyahu does not want a ceasefire. You see, Biden wants a ceasefire, according to Politico, but Netanyahu doesn't want a ceasefire. And the reason that Netanyahu doesn't want a ceasefire, according to Politico's reporting, and according to Biden, is that Netanyahu needs to escalate in order to protect his own political future, as well as helping Trump win the elections in November. That is what Politico is reporting, everybody. Biden, the lame duck who gets into shouting matches with Netanyahu and cannot influence Netanyahu. He has no influence. The president of the United States, according to Politico, simply has no influence over Netanyahu. And Netanyahu is doing all of this for his own political future and for Trump. It's to help Trump, according to Politico. What an article from Politico. What a freaking article. The president of the United States, they claim that the president of the United States is powerless over Netanyahu. That is what they are claiming. So that's the reporting there. And the Telegraph, they are saying that Israel's Iron Dome ran into difficulties the other day with the Iranian missiles because of Project Ukraine. That is what the Telegraph is basically saying. They have an article with the title, "How Iran May Have Breached the World's Best Air Defenses. Israel's air defense system is state-of-the-art, but not infallible." And the Telegraph claims that because so many interceptors were sent to Project Ukraine, this left the Iron Dome exposed and vulnerable to Iranian missiles. And that is why Iranian missiles got through. An admission that Iranian missiles did get through. Though there is a lot of debate and a lot of discussion as to exactly how much damage was done by the 200 or so Iranian missiles that entered Israel. Some sources claim the damage was minimal. No one denies that the missiles managed to get through, that missiles did manage to get through. Not even Israel is denying this. But some sources claim the damage was minimal. Other sources claim the damage was extensive. We are getting videos and images which claim to either support the one side, which says the damage was minimal, or the other side, which says the damage was extensive. We're getting images which support both cases, but it's hard to conclude exactly what really happened with the missile strike into Israel, how successful it was. My hunch is that it was successful. Fairly successful. That's my hunch, but I don't know. The images are A lot of them are cropped, or you just can't make out the damage from the files, from what the images show. It's all on Twitter and Telegram, so you can take a look and judge for yourself exactly what happened with the Iranian missile strike. Anyway, that is what the Telegraph is reporting. Project Ukraine. It is Project Ukraine's fault, and all the interceptors that they sent to Project Ukraine, because the collective West has been demilitarized. The Telegraph is not using those words, but yeah, the collective West has been demilitarized, and lo and behold, the collective West's supply of weapons is not endless. Who would have thought? According to neocon ideology, money and weapons, they are infinite. Well, not so, according to the Telegraph. And that's bad news for Zelensky, isn't it? Very bad news for Elensky. Because what the Telegraph is basically saying in this article is that the collective West is going to have to make a choice as we ramp up towards a war in the Middle East. Is it going to be Project Ukraine that gets the bulk of the weapons, or is it going to be the war in the Middle East and Israel? I think we know the answer to that question. So let's talk about Project Ukraine, and things are going really bad in Project Ukraine. Bad for the Elensky regime. They have lost Ugladar. Even the Ukraine military today, put out a statement and said that the Russian military has captured Ugladar. The Ukraine military is announcing the capture of Ugladar before the Russian Ministry of Defense. Amazing. And pretty soon, the Ukraine military is going to lose another key town/city known as Toretsk. Toretsk is going to fall any day now. Another very heavily fortified area in the Donbass, which the Russian military is very close to capturing. And after Toretsk, it's going to be Pokrovsk, or maybe something in the Seversk direction. We are getting news that key towns and villages are being captured by the Russian military in this direction as well. And in Kursk, well, in Kursk, things are going very bad for the Ukraine soldiers that are now effectively trapped in Kursk. Notice how the mainstream media is not really talking about the great Kursk invasion, the game-changing invasion of Kursk, the invasion that was going to bring Putin to the negotiating table. They're not really talking about Kursk that much, are they? The collective West mainstream media. And the Financial Times, they are reporting that the collective West is putting pressure on Elensky to negotiate an end to the conflict in Ukraine, or at least a cessation to fighting, to hostilities in Ukraine. That is what the collective West leaders are pressuring Elensky to do, and they are telling Elensky, "Bro, you got to talk to Russia. You got to negotiate. You got to stop the conflict, or at least freeze the conflict, and accept that you are going to lose territory." Something that Elensky cannot do. And the mainstream media, the collective West mainstream media, is even saying that if Elensky were to do such a thing, the Banderites in the West are going to have a big problema with Senor Elensky. A very big problema. Yeah. All of a sudden, the Financial Times and the collective West media, they're talking about these very nasty forces in the west of Ukraine being very upset with Elensky if he agrees to negotiate an end to the hostilities and give up territory to Russia. They never talked about these forces in the West, these Banderites. Over the past 2-3 years, they never talked about them. All of a sudden, they're bringing them back up again. Interesting how that works. The Polish defense minister, he came out the other day with a statement saying that Ukraine is ungrateful for everything that we've done for them. Yep, that is what the Polish defense minister said. He also said that Ukraine is not going to be getting into the European Union if they don't settle some of the bad history inflicted on Poland by the Banderites. He said that has to get resolved. Otherwise, Poland is not going to allow Ukraine, in whatever form it's going to be in, to enter the European Union. It seems as if Poland is trying to find an excuse to distance itself from Project Ukraine. The Financial Times, they definitely made it appear as if the collective West leaders, they all seem to understand. They definitely understand that Ukraine has lost. And now every country in the collective West that was supporting Ukraine and going after Russia, they're now trying to distance themselves from Project Ukraine, each in their own different, unique ways. Poland, it looks like Poland's going to use World War II and everything that happened in World War II to try and distance itself from Project Ukraine. Olaf Scholz is desperately trying to call Putin and trying to get Russia to send a delegation to a second peace summit, of which Russia is not going to participate. Russia has already said that they have no interest, zero interest for any kind of sham, fake peace summit. But Olaf Scholz is trying to use his pirate charm to convince Russia to take part in a peace summit. And every country is trying to figure out a way to drop Elensky and Project Ukraine. But the excuses now, the excuses as to why the collective West has lost to Russia, that is what we are seeing now from so many analysts who have been covering Ukraine for the past 3 years and have been promising, they've been promising that Putin was on the ropes. He was sick. He's had a couple of strokes, a couple heart attacks, bum knee, tennis elbow, and the Russian economy in tatters, running out of weapons, running out of artillery shells, running out of bullets, using shovels. All the analysts were telling us any day now, Russia is doomed. Now, all of these analysts who were promising Russia's defeat, they are preparing the narrative to explain away their pitiful reporting of the conflict in Ukraine. And what is the cope? What is the excuse? Well, the excuse is that because various leaders in the collective West, Professor Biden, they did not give Ukraine the green light to launch weapons into pre-2014 Russia. And because of this, Jake Sullivan, these collective West leaders, they are responsible for Ukraine's demise at the hands of Russia. That is what these analysts and these collective West authors are saying in the articles that they're putting out now, explaining Ukraine's defeat, coming defeat. But everyone understands that Ukraine has lost. For example, the former Defense Secretary of the UK, and now military analyst. I guess you could say that he's now a military analyst because he is writing a lot about military affairs and Project Ukraine. Mr. Ben Wallace, he put out an article with the title, Netanyahu shows us how to win in Ukraine. Hit your enemy ruthlessly. And in this article, as we are seeing from many articles in the collective West media, if only they would green light long-range missile strikes into Russia, if only more weapons were given to Elensky, if only all the weapons in the world were given to Elensky in a more timely manner, if they were given a lot quicker than when they were given, if only this was done, then it would have been victory, or at a minimum, it would have caused suffering for the Russians. It would have caused pain and suffering and chaos for Putin, and it would have forced the Putin to the negotiating table. That is what Ben Wallace is saying. That is what all of the collective West media is saying. That is the excuse. That is the cope. That is the narrative building that we are seeing to explain away the loss to Russia. If only this final, it came down to the final wonder weapon, everybody. I can't believe it. So many wonder weapons were given, from the javelins to the drones, to the Leopard tanks, to the Abrams tanks, to the F-16s, the Switchblade drones, the Ghosts of Kiev's, the Zaporozhye Avengers, the goats of Kiev, all of these wonder weapons, the Snake Islands. We've gone through all of these wonder weapons, and right when we were at the final wonder weapon, which was green lighting long-range missile strikes into Russia that would have delivered the victory, or would have delivered Putin to the negotiating table so he could capitulate in accordance with the Elensky peace formula. Right when we were there, we were right there. Victory. I could taste victory. Taste victory. We didn't get it. Unbelievable, man. Unfreaking believable. Anyway, that is the update with Project Ukraine. And this is a good segue to our clown world, which is a good clown world. A very, very good clown world. A delicious clown world for today. And it has to do with a Vovan and Lexus prank call. Not one prank call. Oh, no. Vovan and Lexus, they have outdone themselves. This is their Mona Lisa. Their Mona Lisa of prank calls. It was 2 prank calls to the same person. 2 prank calls to the same person, everybody. Who is that person? Let me know in the comments down below. I will give you 10 seconds. 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mike Pompeo, the former CIA director, the former Trump, what was he, Secretary of State? The very Mike Pompeo who said at an event, what did he say at that event? I always mess it up. He said the CIA, we lie, we cheat, we steal, or something like that. Yes, that Mike Pompeo. He got his first prank call from Vovan and Lexus, where they claimed to be the mysterious African diplomat. Yeah, they used that one again. The African diplomat. Yes, the African diplomat called Mike Pompeo. And then when the African diplomat, with a Russian accent, when he was done speaking with Mike Pompeo, ring, Mr. Pompeo, you have a phone call from Petro Poroshenko. Petro Poroshenko? Wow. Send him through. Yes. Petro Poroshenko, African diplomat, followed by Petro Poroshenko. Man. Oh my God, how many times do I have to say it? Guys, leaders of the collective West, leaders, elites, political elites of the collective West, please, please. If an African diplomat calls you with a Russian accent, speaking English with a Russian accent, he's not an African diplomat. and if Petro Poroshenko, out of the blue, calls you wanting to speak, most likely it's not Petro Poroshenko. This is the former CIA director, bro. You would think he would be a lot better at this stuff, huh? Oh my God. You think he would kind of know that that people are deceiving him being, CIA director and all being a former CIA director, but no. Nope, he fell for it. Boy, did he fall for it. And he said some really interesting things. Well, the first thing that he said is very much what I was talking about with regards to narrative formation and coping, and what Ben Wallace wrote in his article. And what Pompeo said is that that Ukraine needs to hit Russia. They need the long-range missile strikes. They need the green light from Biden-Opolis, and they need to be allowed to hit Russia and cause suffering and pain in Russia. And once that suffering and pain is caused in Russia, then the war can come to a conclusion. Quote, if Russians feel safe in the western part of Russia, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, this conflict will continue for years, claimed Mike Pompeo. Pompeo then said that it will be a good idea if once the conflict concludes, that Russia is brought back into the fold of the West. Mike Pompeo, he claimed that Russia, it's not too late for Russia to be courted by the West again, and that Russia should be convinced that their future is better off with the collective West than it is with Asia and with China. This is what Mike Pompeo said. There is hope that the Russians will come to the conclusion that they also want to be part of the Western trading system. This means that they need to be returned to the European, not the Asian model. We need to convince them that the Russians are in a better position with us than with China. Delusional, bro. Delusional, man. Delusional. But you gotta keep in mind that in Pompeo's head, he believes that long-range missile strikes, that if Biden green lights the long-range missile strikes, then Ukraine wins, Russia loses, Putin is damaged, and Russia's going to be dropped by BRICS, going to be dropped by China, and they're going to decide that their place is with the victor, and the victor in Mike Pompeo's head is the West. That's what he believes in his cabeza. Yeah, that's Pompeo for you. He also lashed out at the EU. He said the EU needs to do more. He said Europe needs to give more money and more everything. He's very disappointed in Europe. He feels as if Europe has not pulled their weight with regards to Project Ukraine. And then he talked about Belarus, and he talked about destroying the Orthodox Church, the Moscow Patriarch, and the Orthodox Church in Ukraine. He's one of the people that he is the main person. Allegedly, he's the main person that orchestrated all of that. And yeah, that's the prank call from Vovan and Lexus to Mike Pompeo. That's the video. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop. Pick up some merch like the Duran t-shirt I am wearing today. One of the best Duran t-shirts out there. Pick it up on the Duran shop. You will find a link to the shop in the description box down below. Take care.